Hi there everybody, welcome back to Prestige Auctions, and it's auction aftermath time once again. It's quite a different sale this weekend as it's bank holiday. Bank holidays, as we said just a couple of weeks ago, can be quite tricky sales for us at Prestige Auctions. Well, why? Because lots of people have got lots of other options of things to do. Adding to that there was no real standout pieces in this week's auction, that it was quite a general sale, and just a little under 1,200 lots, I believe. Grimsby Town were at home. They were trying to get into the playoffs. Sadly, they didn't. So that, lots of people would have been going to that. People going away for the weekend. So the room wasn't actually that busy yesterday. However, so what does this do for you people? Gives you a great opportunity to buy. These are the times that people that want to make money should be sitting through that auction, because, yes, it's nice to go out and enjoy yourselves and do things like that, but they're the times when everyone else is enjoying themselves that you've got your real opportunity to make some money. So what happened in the auction? Well, here you go. Let's have a quick look. Well, it started off quite slow, as we was expecting it to, with the giraffe, and the giraffe made a few pounds, and the giraffes always seem to sell in here. So just a quick intro for this as well, for everybody that wonders why we do an auction aftermath. Well, we're always talking about what we're selling and trying to talk you into buying it. Well, let's talk you out of what happened. So, in other words, giving you some tips on what you should be doing if you want to become a side hustler, a money maker, a buyer, a reseller, whatever you want to call it. All of this stuff here is going to be quite interesting. These always sell well, these things here. Anything relating to sort of heavy metal figures, and not all band figures, but a lot of heavy metal figures, Kiss, Iron Maiden, things like that, have always seemed to have done quite well when you get their stuff in the sale, as those did there. Anyway, so all those sold. The first big hit of the day was this at number 6. I think this did 70 odd quid for the old Castrol tin there, and I can tell you there was a hell of a lot more than that on the book, but there you go, £70 on that one. That's where the bids got taken to. These old Bon Jovi figures here as well, this one there, and this one here as well. So those ones did a few quid. Bit of a battle then for those, different dealers trying to buy those, so they're obviously seeing a little bit of profit left in those as well. So again, when you're on the boot sales, charity shop, stuff like this, anything especially heavy metal or heavy rock, always going to potentially be a profit in if you can buy it cheap enough. We came on to this one here. This is the West German vases. Now, one that looks like this are always going to be popular. These have only become popular again in recent months, maybe the last year or so, whereas before they was quite cheap to buy. But again, fashions change things. Lots of boxes of assorted, which made very average money. I can tell you we had a not sold on the first sheet this week, but we did sell it after the sale, so that was better. Different sort of boxes of assorted glassware and figurines and things were mainly being snapped up by the dealers this week for resale. So there wasn't loads of exciting stuff in them. These always do well. Again, these are ones to look for. These Tilly lamps, these often do quite well. There's always quite a few hands for those, quite a few bids. The whiskey bottles, of course, people like to collect these old 1 gallon whiskey bottles to put the pennies and 2p's and stuff like that in the bedrooms or whatever they do. A good way to save up all your change. They don't take £2 coins, those ones. Just remember that one. They take everything but £2 coins. The old boxing gloves sold, and records were hit and miss yesterday, and various bits and bobs that were selling weren't selling. I was quite surprised there was a few bids for this one there. The knitted jumper, quite heavy, that one, nice wool. But again, that one got picked up as well. So, even though we did have quite a few not solds yesterday, a lot of people were picking up those not solds on the telephone, ringing up and what have you, straight after the sale. The wool sold okay, as wool always does. Again, this is why we do the house terraces like we do. We're not like the standard auction room. We're only interested in antiques and collectibles. We will have a go at selling anything. So, if you've got a house to clear, come and talk to us, because you don't want all that stuff just to end up in the skip just for the sake of it. Winnie the Pooh, with his telephone there, he sold for a few quid, as did the cutlery and that. I'm not sure. I think that got picked up. I'm not sure it sold at the sale, but I think it sold afterwards. Again, another one of those whiskey bottles there that you can see that somebody else picked up. They usually sell, anywhere between 6 and 12 quid, somewhere around there. Usually around the 10 mark. Big lots of crystal and things there. There was some Neo and Ladro figurines. Again, as I keep saying, it's not on fire, this stuff anymore, unless it's really special. That was nice. I don't mind admitting I bought that. I like that from the moment that I see it in the house, the old Grimsby Town ashtray there. So, nice thing, that one. Lots of heavy bits of glassware, Italian stuff. Those there didn't make much money, sadly. I think I remember that worked out about £1 each, I think, something like that. In that lot that was bought, because they're just not that exciting anymore. Nobody really wants it. These made a few quid, again, because they're a little bit different. If you're a card player, nice thing to own. As we come down here, lots of pottery struggled. The shells sold okay. I'm trying to pick out any real sort of bargains and high flyers, because everything was quite average yesterday. You know, nothing was making amazing money. So when it comes, I'll tell you what though, one or two of the boxes of costume jewellery did okay. You know, sort of 20 odd pounds and 20, 22, 24s. But again, lots of content. People like lots of content in the boxes. Makes it better for the resellers. A few bits and bobs of sterling silver that sold. Nice hallmarks down there that you see. The big box of pound coins, they were cheap, I thought. The various bits of jewellery, the lighters there, the pellets, all this sold. All of these bits sold. Those sold for, see, they were all penny sold for about £26, I think, something like that. The old sights off guns and things, and then there was various watches and knives and bits of silver, lots of little bits of jewellery. Big box of various watches that came out of a property there. That was a little silver gate bracelet there. And then this one, even though it didn't sell at its reserve of 150, it got snapped up after the sale. So, you know, it did still sell. And again, that's the thing. People think, oh, not sold, not sold, not sold. It's not always the case. You know, a lot of this stuff does get picked up. That was quite heavy, that silver thing there. And then the opal ring, I think probably made about £20 above the scrap price of that. And that one there sold as well. That was a lot of gold, that one, with diamonds as well, quite a bit of bling, that. And a triple diamond 18 karat gold ring didn't sell. What did it sell? I can't remember, actually. Actually, that one sold. The little seahorse there in 9 karat gold. And then that one there in 9 karat gold, that sold as well. That was quite nice. The diamonds and possibly emeralds there, and in 9 karat gold. The candle snuffer, that made a few quid, as did the old Timex watch, and that rather interesting silver chain made a few pounds over scrap. Little lady's Amiga watch, that made a few quid as well. So again, all of these bits, there was little bits of battles on for. That was quite a nice piece there, that shell dish in silver. And then we got on to the electricals and things. As we got onto the back wall and things, you know, very average prices. I quite like those, all of those different characters there for hot water bottles. They were sold as a lot. And as we came down here, there was a variation, lots of stuff. Tell you what, I'll just pick up on that. So we had a message on YouTube saying that he'd put a bid on this of a lot more than it made, and he'd sent it through email. I don't know if that got chased up or not, but what we'll all say to you, if you are sending messages through Messenger, through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through email, whatever, whenever we put those bids on, we always reply. So if you haven't had the reply, then it might tell you there's something wrong. So do get in touch with us by phone, is always the best bet. And then we can tell if we've had them or not. Printers, some of these laser printers were doing okay. They made a few quid as well. Bits and bobs, the Pokemon cards, they all sold. They weren't terrific money. They weren't terrific cards. But, you know, from what I know about Pokemon cards, they were okay. A lot of content for 10, 11 quids. As you came down here, books were really struggling yesterday. I mean, really struggling. In fact, I've just seen a lot of those in the disposable piles out there. PlayStation 2 games, again, always sell. And then we got onto a lot of these records and ephemera and stuff on the front table, which there's various prices for this. Some was making really good money. Some was just making just a few pounds. So some of the papers, like some were making like 4 quid, some were making 44 quid. So it really, how big the variations was on those. Lots of the smalls in the room weren't making a whole lot of money, but they weren't super exciting pieces. Dartboards, everyone's buying dartboards at the moment. We used to go on not sold, but now every time we get them in, they always sell. Again, books at the back. 1 or 2 of these ones sold. The bubble ones sold. A lot of the electrical stuff was selling this week. The bed spotter sold, and so on. So, you know, there were bargains around to be had. Anything that was any good was making the money, of course, as it always does in the auction. So when you was in this back room here, I think Lisa kind of took over here, so I'm not quite sure again what happened there. I was probably filling my face. And then all the books and things, I think a lot of those sold. She certainly sold all the teddies, I believe. And then we got into the back room. She started selling tools. Tools were okay. Lots of good tools, and any garden stuff at this time of year is selling well. So again, when you're booking stuff into for the auction, think about this stuff that's coming down as well, and think to yourself, watch a couple of auctions, try and get a feel for what's selling. It's not always the same. If you've got stuff that's quality, it's always going to sell. As we come down here, we got onto more garden bits and fishing bits and various boxes of assorted tools and things. And then I'm trying to figure out where I took over. I certainly sold the bikes. So I sold the bikes. The generator made a few quid, but that was quite a good generator by the looks of it. So it looked to be in reasonable condition. Those chairs sold as well, even though there's a bit of rust on them. I don't know what I've done there, and they sold as well. We were selling all the sort of the lawnmowers and things, but because we've had such high volumes of these recently, they've not been making too much money. As you come down here, the bamboo plants, they all sold as a lot, and I tried to get Lisa to buy the cleaning trolley, but she wasn't having any of it. As we came down here, we got onto the front table. Front table was okay. Stamps are struggling. First aid covers are struggling. The propellers sold at probably around the scrap price, to be fair. There was a few quid in the room for the Victorian stamps, the old radio. These things aren't as popular as it was. 40 odd quid for the Bible, though. The Bible did okay. The old family Bible there, that must have been an half decent one. Lots of the gaming, all sold. Didn't pull up any trees again, but it did sell. We got onto the white goods. I think all of the white goods sold this week, whether it be a washing machine, fridge freezer, chest freezer, TVs, you name it, all the appliances and that were selling. Big set of speakers, they sold for a few quid. I think there's 50, 60 quid those were. But by God, there's some big speakers, those. Wardrobes are all selling. The beds sold. And we had telephone interest on things like the heavy pine and that. So we often do get dealer interest for stuff like that because it sells well, or they have customers for it. Various items of various furniture and that. It was okay. This plank top table, that was okay. But again, not much money around for this sort of stuff. Again, if you've got a second-hand shop, you want to make a few quid, or you're thinking of opening one, then come and buy this stuff because it's cheap as. And because we're getting so much of it, sadly, the piano didn't sell, and I think we've got another one in next week or the week after. Not the sort of things that people are buying anymore, I'm afraid. The aircon units, anything that's got a bit of a retro look for it is selling. So, it might not be making fortunes, but it is selling. So, sort of bear that in mind. This one sold for about £24. I thought that was reasonably cheap, although there is the odd mark on it. Probably what put some people off. And then the glass cabinets, they sold, and all the other bits and bobs ended up with a wheelchair at the end of the auction. And that's about it, guys. It was a very average day. We got the auction done and dusted for 5 to 3, and it was an okay day. So thank you everybody that did attend. This next week, of course, we have got the toy sale that's taking place here on Thursday. You can already get involved with the bidding by going to easyliveauction.com and registering for that sale. You can bid live in the room on Thursday from 10 a.m, or you can bid on Easy Live Auctions as well. You can, of course, leave commission bids if you wish to do so. The auction room will open at 9 a.m. on Thursday if you want to come down and view for the hour before the sale starts. After that, of course, we've got next week's sale. We will be filling that up. Before that Thursday sale, you'll have seen the sneak peek, which will go out tomorrow night. I can tell you, we've got a nightmare week ahead of us because we've got so much stuff to get through, and we've got so many more jobs coming through the door. So, as always, thank you to everybody that supports our small family-run business in Grimsby. We've had a great week. We're all a bit tired, but me and Lisa are back here tonight as well. It's going to be a bit of a long week for us, but we're going to try and get everything done for you. So you've got another great auction to come to next week. One person just said to me as I came through to do this filming that she's been a customer of ours for a while, and she said a neighbour has started coming to the auction and she absolutely loves it. So that's the thing, everybody. If you're a private individual, tell your friends about us. Tell people about the bargains they can be getting and the reason that they should come to Prestige Auctions in Grimsby. We know you're not going to tell people if you're a dealer because you want to keep it all to yourself. Anyway, there you go, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you all very soon at the auction.